Picture this. You walk into a Costco for your usual run. Milk, eggs, maybe a giant pack of paper towels. You scroll through the website or pass by the electronics section, and suddenly you see something that doesn't belong in a grocery store at all. Real gold bars, silver coins, not fake, not decorative, actual precious metals you can buy with a few clicks. Now, here's the part that should stop you in your tracks. While most people were busy watching stock charts and listening to Wall Street analysts, Costco quietly sold around $200 million worth of gold and silver. A grocery store just outperformed parts of Wall Street in selling one of the oldest stores of wealth in human history. And almost no one is asking the most important question. Why did this happen now? This story isn't just surprising, it's revealing. It exposes how people really feel about money today, who they trust, and where wealth is quietly moving behind the scenes. And once you see it clearly, you might never look at money the same way again. Before we dive deeper, if you enjoy stories that uncover how money really works beneath the surface, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This is Hidden Wealth, where we break down financial shifts in a simple, honest, and story-driven way. Your support helps the channel grow and brings you more content like this. Now let's slow down and understand what actually happened. Costco didn't suddenly decide to become a bank or an investment firm. They simply added gold bars and silver coins as products for their members. No hype, no bold predictions, no promises of massive returns. Just a product listing, a price, and limited supply. And almost instantly, those listings sold out, over and over again. Demand was so strong that it shocked even seasoned observers. The big question is not how Costco sold gold. The real question is why people rushed to buy it from a grocery store instead of a bank, broker, or traditional precious metals dealer. The answer starts with trust. Trust is the foundation of every financial system, and right now, trust in traditional finance is fragile. For years, people have watched markets crash, banks get bailed out, inflation eat away at savings, and fees quietly drain accounts. Many feel the system works great for insiders, but not for regular people. Costco exists in a completely different mental category. People trust Costco almost instinctively. They trust the prices, they trust the quality, they trust that Costco isn't trying to trick them. That trust took decades to build, and it became incredibly valuable at exactly the right moment. When Costco offered gold, people didn't feel like they were being sold a complicated financial product. It felt like buying anything else at Costco. Simple, transparent, familiar. That emotional difference is huge. Another critical piece of this puzzle is Costco's business model. Costco makes most of its profit from membership fees, not from marking up products. That allows them to sell items, even gold, with very thin margins. Compared to many traditional gold dealers, Costco's pricing looked fair and competitive. No hidden fees, no confusing spreads, just a clear number. For buyers, this felt refreshing. In a world where financial products often feel designed to confuse, Costco's approach felt honest, and honesty sells, especially in uncertain times. But let's talk about the timing, because timing is everything. This didn't happen during a period of calm and confidence. It happened when people are anxious, inflation has been stubborn, the cost of living is high, debt levels are massive, interest rates have been unpredictable, banks have shown signs of stress, markets swing violently on headlines. When the future feels uncertain, people change their priorities. They stop chasing maximum returns and start thinking about protection. Preservation becomes more important than growth. And that's where gold and silver enter the conversation again. Gold and silver aren't exciting. They don't have flashy apps or viral trends. They don't promise overnight riches. But they have something very few assets have: history. For thousands of years across civilizations, gold has held value. It doesn't depend on a government promise or a company's earnings. It simply exists. For a long time, Wall Street treated gold as outdated, something for pessimists, something that doesn't produce cash flow. But Wall Street also thrives on complexity, on products that require management, fees, and constant activity. Gold doesn't play that game. What Costco did was remove the intimidation factor. Buying gold used to feel like a big, serious financial event. You had to find a dealer, worry about authenticity, think about storage, and deal with pricing that wasn't always clear. Costco turned it into a normal purchase. And that normality unlocked demand that was already there, just waiting. Here's something else that should make you pause. While everyday people were buying gold from Costco, central banks around the world were also buying gold in record amounts. Quietly, no marketing, no announcements. Countries have been reducing reliance on the US dollar and increasing gold reserves as a hedge. This isn't a coincidence, it's a pattern. When both institutions and individuals move toward the same asset at the same time, it usually means something deeper is happening. So let me ask you one question. If governments, central banks, and regular families are all turning to gold at the same time, what does that say about confidence in the current financial system? This is where the story becomes less about Costco and more about a shift in mindset. People are realizing that diversification isn't just about owning different stocks. It's about not relying entirely on one system. Digital assets, bank accounts, and markets all depend on infrastructure, trust, and rules that can change. Physical gold and silver exist outside that system. They don't need electricity. They don't need the internet. They don't need permission. That independence gives people a sense of control they feel they've lost elsewhere. Costco didn't pitch gold as a get-rich-quick scheme. They didn't frame it as beating the market. They offered it quietly, almost casually. And that might be the most powerful part of this entire story. This is exactly the kind of thing we talk about on Hidden Wealth. The biggest financial shifts rarely announce themselves loudly. They show up disguised as normal business decisions. A grocery store selling gold doesn't sound revolutionary until you realize what it represents. It represents a loss of faith in traditional financial gatekeepers. It represents a desire for simplicity. It represents people taking small steps to protect themselves instead of blindly trusting systems they don't to fully believe in anymore. Now, this doesn't mean everyone should rush out and buy gold. This isn't financial advice. Gold has its own risks. Prices can fluctuate, storage matters, liquidity matters. But ignoring the signal would be a mistake. Because Costco didn't beat Wall Street by being smarter. They beat Wall Street by being human. They understood how people feel right now. Now, Wall Street, in many ways, stopped listening. Another angle that rarely gets discussed is how this move fits into a broader trend. More non-financial companies are stepping into spaces once dominated by banks. Payment services, lending, investing. The walls are slowly breaking down, and with every crack, traditional institutions lose a bit more control. Costco's gold sales might seem small compared to global markets, but signals don't need to be massive to be meaningful. They just need to be clear. Think about how many major changes started quietly. Online shopping was once a novelty. Streaming was once niche. Digital payments were once risky. Then suddenly, they were everywhere. What starts at the edges often moves to the center. Years from now, people may look back and say this was one of those moments, the moment when buying gold became normal again, when wealth started moving out of abstract systems and back into tangible form. And there's one more thing. Costco didn't advertise this heavily. They didn't push it aggressively. Demand came naturally. That tells you something important. People were already thinking about this. Costco just gave them a door. As we get closer to the end, I want you to think about what this story really means for you. Not in terms of buying gold, but in terms of awareness. Pay attention to where trust is flowing. Pay attention to what people do, not what they say. If a grocery store can outsell traditional financial institutions in precious metals, it's not because the grocery store is special. It's because the system around it is changing. Now, I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Do you see Costco selling gold as a smart business move, or as a warning sign about the state of our financial system? Drop your opinion in the comments. Different perspectives make this conversation stronger. And if this video helped you see money from a new angle, share it with someone who still believes wealth only exists on screens and apps. Sharing helps this channel grow and helps more people discover the ideas we talk about here. This is Hidden Wealth. Stay curious, stay aware. And remember, the most important shifts in wealth usually happen quietly right in front of us.